In this chapter, I want to talk to you about the concept of enabling and the dynamics that go with it. Enabling is a word that we hear bandied about quite a bit, and it's important to understand exactly how it works in the whole process of addiction and family dynamics. We break it down into two different pieces: innocent enabling and desperate enabling. Innocent enabling is really where we all kind of start out. We see that there may be some problems associated with the drinking, but we don't really pin it to the addiction or say that it's addiction or alcoholism or something like that. After all, this is our beloved Jeff or our beloved Susie or whatever, and we just think they're going through a little phase. We think that they're having some problems maybe because of a marriage or a relationship or a job or some kind of stressor, and so we want to help them through it. We might give them a little financial help or help them in any number of ways. What we're really doing, however, unbeknownst to us, is we are helping the addiction to thrive in its early stages. We're taking away the consequences that a person might feel as a result of drinking or drugging, and therefore making it easier for them to continue. And we continue ourselves in this innocent enabling for some period of time, maybe it's months, maybe it's years, until something happens and we finally have that light go on in our head where we say, oh my goodness, he really is an alcoholic and a drug addict. You know, before this time, we may have been thinking that alcoholism and drug addiction was something that only happened to other families. It's something that only happens to those people on the other side of the tracks. It's not certainly happening in our family. But when we move from innocent to desperate enabling, we realize that something has happened, that our loved one too is suffering from alcoholism and or drug addiction. And so we don't want them to wind up in jail or some kind of terrible trouble like those people from the other side of the tracks. So we go into high gear. We lend more money, we cover up with the boss, we do different things to help the enabling, to enable the person, and unbeknownst to us again, continue to help that addiction to thrive. It's a real problem because we think that we're being caregivers. We think that we're the ones that are propping the person up and helping them to continue in their life even while they're on these stormy seas. But in fact, we're just being caretakers. You know, we're just taking care of things, putting Band-Aids here and there, and not really helping. There's also a sense of reward that we get from our enabling behaviors. That is when we step in and fix whatever the acute situation is that's happening right now at the moment. We get a sense of control. We get a sense that we are stepping into the picture and making things better. So that gives us a natural sense of well-being. And it also gives us a feeling that really things aren't as bad as perhaps we thought they were yesterday, because after all, we were able to come in and fix it. Makes me feel much better because I have enough power to be able to do that. When we really want to help, we are going to go through a spiritual process called detachment. And this isn't the kind of detachment where we just let go of the person and let them fall apart or whatever. When I talk about detachment in this sense and letting go in this sense, what I really am talking about is a spiritual transformation where I am not so much focused on immediate effects, but rather I'm going to start doing the right thing. I'm going to start doing the honest thing. I am going to start doing the thing that is true to myself and my own values. And I am going to let go of what the final consequences of that may be, because I cannot micromanage what's going to happen a month out or a year out or something like that. Instead, I'm going to start focusing on doing the right thing and let go. This gives me the freedom to do the right thing because I'm not overwhelmed with anxiety about what effect my actions may have. Instead, I'm going to trust the process, I'm going to trust the honesty, and do the right thing. An example of all this comes about in my own personal story. You know, when I was stuck in my own addiction and my drinking and drugging, my parents were pulling their hair out trying to help me. They tried everything that they could think of. After all, I was a National Merit Scholar. I had been invited to attend just about every good college and university in the United States. And yet I was falling down deeper and deeper into my own alcoholism and drug addiction. They lent me money, they kept paying tuition, they would bail me out of trouble when I got into car crashes and was getting into legal difficulties. They did everything in the world to try to hold me up and push me forward, but none of it worked. In fact, all it really did was make it more comfortable for me to be a practicing alcoholic. Of course, they had no idea about this until they started to take the time to really learn about chemical dependency and, more importantly, to learn about intervention. Once they did that and really got some good advice on intervention, then they were able to re-engage in my life in a more positive and constructive way and finally do an intervention that was able to pull me out of the terrible hole that I had fallen into and get me into treatment where I could get the help that I needed and get into recovery.